The following podcast you're about to listen to is from Antonio the Mayor Timms. You can listen to this podcast on various platforms: Google Podcasts, Breaker Audio, Pocket Cast, RadioPublic.com, Spotify, and Apple Music. Or you can reach me by email, bigdog0862@me.com. Please enjoy the following podcast. Okay, we covered quite a few things last week, or I talked about quite a few things last week as we continue to talk about church hurt. And we know that these things take place. There's no denying it. We know that these things take place in churches. When I say these things, I focus on greed, pride, and toxic leaders, people who are toxic. Don't you know that who's ever over you is feeding into your spirit? If you have a pastor that's full of love and knows the fruit of the spirit, that's what's going to be fed into you. That love, that fruit of the spirit. If you got a pastor that's angry and bitter and hateful, whatever comes out of that person over the pulpit is going to be placed in you. So you have to be careful of who you let minister to you, who you let be your overseer, your shepherd, your covering. You have to be careful of that. Because it can start off beautiful. I told you that. Start off beautiful and with so much love and caring for people. But when that greed and pride comes into the mix, it all goes downhill from there. Unless that person repent and changes their ways. Now, I in no ways are using my podcast to try to preach or put a message out. Few of you say, hey, elder, preach, hey. But my podcast is about more than preaching. I'm not trying to preach. I did not start a podcast for ministry. Let me make that clear. This is not a ministry. This is a podcast. I just so happen to want to talk about something that has taken place in my life. This is about experience, strength, and hope. Listen to that again. Experience what you have been through. Things in your life, whether in the church or out of the church. Strength. How you gathered yourself together to fight out of this. And hope. Where are you going from here? What's in your spirit? What's in your mind? Where do you want to move forward to? Let's move forward now. Experience, strength, and hope. It's time to move forward. So you're liable to hear any kind of story on here that's not just based off of church or the Bible. We're going to base this off of your experience, your strength, and hope. Because I may talk to someone who knows nothing about the Bible, but they've been through a lot, and they may be able to put something in you to allow you to grasp onto it and pull yourself up out of a hole. So let's focus on that. Focus on your strength. Focus on your hope. Focus on your experience. You take these things that we've been through that I talked about last week and the week before, and these things are put out here for you to grow from. Whether you're growing mentally, spiritually, or naturally, they are put out there for you to grow. Your experience, what you have went through, they are not for you to stay there. A lot of us have tragic stories. As I told the story about my 15 minutes of fame with the Chicago Police Department, I still deal with that today of what happened to me. Every time I see a police beating or something on TV or misuse of power, it makes me think about that. So my experience is what's going to feed into me what I need to do to have hope. What I need to do to have strength, then hope. My experience. I've experienced so much. You can say, I've been through so much. I've gathered so much inside of me. I have to let it out somewhere. And I gathered strength from it. And now I have hope. Well, hope to do what? Hope for tomorrow. We need hope. The world we're living in today, we need some type of hope. We need some type of hope of your faith that where I'm going to be, not just 100 years from now, 50 years from now, where am I going to be tomorrow? How am I going to make it tomorrow? What am I going to do to put what I've been through into someone else and show them what they can accomplish. It's all about showing people what you've been through and helping everyone. When one of my Saturday things is that I get up Saturday morning and I meet with a friend, and after I meet with a friend every Saturday morning, I go out when it's not cold, but in the summertime like this, go out to yard sales. And I may not buy nothing, but I have encountered many. I have been able to put myself before other people and see if they need anything from me. Just a word, whether I walk up on your property and you got stuff out there to sell, and I just say, good morning. Some people don't even say good morning. And I walk up and I say, good morning. Because someone may just need to hear that good morning and see your smiling face. Because their experiences that they're going through right now have not shown them that they may have hope. They're thinking defeat. But your smiling face, your short 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute conversation could change someone's life. It's all about your experience. It's all about your strength. And what do we hope for? So many people are worried about how much money they have in the bank. The latest clothes, or what do they call it now? My fit, my latest fit, my car, my ride. They're worried about that. And their spirits are tore up inside. They're not happy. All those things that they have, and they still not happy inside. They still feel the feeling of defeat. I told you before, that spirit or that feeling of depression can overtake you and cause you to have millions of dollars and all the friends you feel or they feel in the world and still feel defeated, still want to take your life. And that's the greatest thing God has given us, the ability to have life and have it more abundantly, to be able to smile, to be able to talk, to be able to be happy, to be able to be nice to people. For years, I lived in a state of defeat because things that were fed into me, anger and hatred, coming from a home with a father that was just, angry and could be mean and hateful sometimes. It was being fed into me, but I had promised myself I wouldn't do the same thing. Years after that, I began to have love and kindness because that's what the man of God was putting into me. Love, kindness taught me you got to love people. When people do something, as he always said, you got to give them a way out. Don't always hold it against them, but give them a way out of this stuff. Give them a way out of these things to where they can reestablish their friendship or whatever they need to do. Reestablish their minds, their heart, their souls with you and with God, if that's who they're serving. Individuals on your job, not just in the church, but on your job, your friends, your long-time friendship. You have to get these things together. We're living in times where we don't have time to be mad at people and angry and hating people, coming in, not speaking to people, not talking to people. That stuff is out. Walking in the church and walk past them, walk them in the job and walk past them. Don't smile, don't say hi. That kind of stuff is out, man. That's old. That was 5th grade stuff. You done graduated from that. You're supposed to be showing love and kindness. You're supposed to be grown, is what my grandmother may say, or what my mama may say. You grown now. Why you acting like that? Ain't nothing worse than a 40, 50-year-old person acting like they 15, throwing off childish behavior. So let's be happy. Let's love one another. Let's be happy to see each other. Happy to see your relative you haven't seen in years. Happy to mend broken hearts, those bridges that have been burned. Happy to build those bridges again. It's all about that. So as I continue on in my podcast, I want you to be out there and say, hey, I would like to be on there. I have a story of experience, strength, and hope. James, I got a story. Tony, I got a story. Antonio, whatever you call me, elder, or whatever you call me. Just say, hey, I got some things that I can tell. And it's not about you just being able to say your story, but whatever you say that you experience is here to bring somebody strength. And the next man may bring him hope. So, don't hold back. Give me a holler. Give me a call. Let me know that you have a story to tell. It don't have to be me every week, which it won't be. I have various guests that are going to be coming on to talk to you and to give their story of experience, strength, and hope. So I want you to keep your ears open and keep your mind ready to say, hey, I have something to say. What was my first story was about? My 15 minutes of fame, I call it, with the Chicago Police Department. Being roughed up, 9mm pointed to my neck, being choked. For what? For coming into the city to pick up kids to take custody of them. I was being choked because they thought we were somebody else. And I say that with quotes because that's what they said. Oh, your car looked like a car that was around here in a shooting earlier. First thing in the morning, So that was my story to say what happened. And I'm still being healed from that. I'm still clearing those things out of my mind. You have a 9mm pointed to your neck by somebody at the time did not reveal themselves as a law enforcement officer, then you have fear in you. You don't know who's pointing a pistol in your neck. A gun period to your neck, a gun period to your face brings fear. If not, you're the toughest guy in the world. You got it, brother. But for me, that brought fear. So fear is one of those things I have to overcome. The fear. And dislike. I don't have a dislike anymore for law enforcement. After that, I left, not law enforcement everywhere, but I had a dislike and I had a grudge against law enforcement because of me being roughed up by the police. I couldn't watch movies like Fruitville Station and things like that. But I have victory now because I want to move forward. And I know that all law enforcement ain't bad. I know because I got a loved one that's going to be a law enforcement. He's already hired by the police and going through the academy and be finished by the time you hear this. He'll probably be finished from the academy. But it's not a hatred that I have and no anger. I don't want people to misunderstand that I have for law enforcement. It was my 15 minutes of fame with the Chicago police. Those police that were there, those undercover, those gang task force officers. And I can guarantee you, I'm not the only one with that story. It's plenty of other people out there that can tell close to the same story, probably right there with those same officers. Don't know where they are today, but God bless their souls. So we're moving on. We're moving forward. We're going to move forward. That's what this is all about. If I can say it 1,000 times, I'll say this is about our experience, our strength, and our hope. So we're going to move forward with this. We're going to take our stories, and as we compile them together, they're going to become available one after another on my YouTube, or on my podcast, on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes Connect. They're going to be available for others to listen to where they can gain hope and strength from. I mean, I have other stories to tell. I mean, it's people out there who have been through so much and they hold on to it and it could help so many people. I've been through a lot of things. I've been through things and experience that I hope that can help someone. I was homeless before. I lost my job and got evicted with 4 beautiful daughters and had to stay with a friend. That's called homeless. If you don't have your own place and you have to stay with someone. But I had a dear friend that had a families of their own that took us in and made room in their home for us. Not many people would do that these days. Because people are so self-centered and hard hearts. But I've been homeless. I've been fired from a job before. I lost things before. I lost worldly possessions. But I thank God that I was able to pull myself up out of the dirt and make something of these things. Make something out of these experiences that could bring somebody else hope. So don't forget, you have a story to tell. Don't ever let anyone stop you from giving your story. Whether you call it a testimony or anything, don't let people stop you from giving your story. These things that you've been through that you can help somebody else with, tell it. Don't have people sitting you down and saying it's not important. So many times people kill our spirits by saying, oh, that ain't true. I don't like that. We tired of hearing that. We don't want to hear what you got to say. Oh, tell your story if you think it's going to help someone. And I say this again, through all the things that I've been through, I know you have something to tell also. I can say all the things that I've been through, I had something to tell, but I know that you have a story also. And I'm soliciting your stories. I'm soliciting it. You can call me. You can call me at 785-307-4662. That's the line for my podcast. And you can say, hey, Tony, I want to tell my story. I want to say this. So use that number and call me. Use that so you won't be helping me, but I guarantee you when someone hears this, you're going to be helping somebody. So be blessed, be encouraged, be watchful as well as prayerful, and also gather your experience and your strength and hope and tell someone else. Thank you. I appreciate this. I appreciate each one of you. I appreciate each one of you who follow me. You can find me at bigdog0862@me.com to email. I've given you the phone number, and you can also go to Anchor FM, Antonio-J-M on Anchor. You can go to Tony the Mayor on Spotify, Tony the Mayor on iTunes Connect or Apple Music, Tony the Mayor on Google Podcasts. And if you can't find it that way, just put it in Google, Tony the Mayor. Tony D-M-A-Y-O-R. And hopefully you can find it. Now, when you find me, and even on YouTube, and this is important on YouTube also, go ahead and subscribe. So you won't have to wait for me to come back to you. Go ahead and subscribe so you'll know when I put up a new podcast. Give me a thumbs up on there, or you can give me a thumbs down. Leave a comment. Whatever you have to say, the comments are open. So I think pretty much now I have a thick skin that I can handle it. So whatever you have to say, I want to hear it. If I'm doing this thing all wrong, let me know. If I'm doing things that you know that I can do better, let me know. If you're doing things that you can help me with, let me know. So use those. So please, on YouTube, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Give me a comment. Go ahead and subscribe on any of these platforms. If it allow you to do it, do it. So we all know not who's listening, but how many people are listening. What audience we need to focus on. So do that. And I'll be happy to answer any question that you have. Again, I say thank you. Have a blessed and wonderful day. And be watchful as well as prayerful. Thank you. This is Tony the Mayor saying goodbye.